Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to The Medium by Design, and I hope you are all healthy and making the best of our current situation and letting yourself be as free as you can and explore your creative options, which I've seen many of you do great things on Facebook and on the internet in general. I love the quarantine karaoke group that was formed. That was genius. And what we're going to learn today, looking at the full moon astrology chart, is that there is a lot of genius in the air, and it's coming out. And this is what we want. That's our highest potential at this time. So, the best thing I could tell you about astrology is it's very important to at least know the basics. But in order to help you to understand some of this, I put in the house numbers, because there were 12 houses on the wheel. Very simple. This is a Western astrology chart. It's for the full moon, and I made a Freudian slip and put fool instead of full, because we're seeing a lot of foolish behavior too. So it's 7:37 p.m. Pacific time. So the thing you should know about astrology is the chart does change based on the location that you put in, longitude and latitude, and the time, which time zone you're in. So the full moon is exact around 11:37, 11:35, 37 Pacific time tonight. So we got the numbers of the houses, and just for your own benefit, I put in the planet names by those symbols: Sun, Mercury, Neptune, Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto. The nodes I'll talk about in a moment. The moon, another node, Venus, Uranus. So we're not going to get too crazy here. I'm going to keep it as simple as possible so everybody could just understand what some of the energies mean. And I'm going to keep it at a reasonable amount of time. So the first thing I see is we have a lot of energy down in the third house. The third house is the natural house ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the natural ruler of Gemini. If you know any Geminis in your life, think of the general traits of Geminis. It's the sign of communication, the sign of the mind, how we use our minds, how we're communicating now, which is very, very interesting. To me, when I see the planet Pluto in the third house, I know that people's minds are staying in a very intense place, okay? Because Pluto is a very intense energy, and it has to do with transformation. So if nothing else, through this so-called crises, we should get a transformation of our minds and the way we think, according to the layout of this chart. The second planet that's down there is Jupiter. Jupiter's sitting very close by degrees. This is 24 degrees. Jupiter's at 25. They're in the sign of Capricorn, even though they're in the Gemini house. So last week, this conjunction was approaching, which means Jupiter was on the other side, coming up to this Pluto. This was a very significant conjunction because it's requiring Capricorn business to reevaluate. Okay? Pluto breaks down in order to rebuild. It's in the sign of Capricorn. So, and it got hit by Jupiter, which is expansion. So believe it or not, the positive side of these two energies is people getting new ideas for business. Well, I can give you a couple of simple examples. The companies that have decided to do pickup orders, whether it's restaurants or grocery stores, or delivery, people that have gone into the delivery business, these are great ideas to do in this kind of situation. It's really, really healthy idea, and it'll boost business. So I think that's going to be very, very beneficial in the long run. because not everybody can fit that mold. Remember, we need multiple business modes now in order to carry on, and we're going to have to really step into the multiple streams of income, which many people have been talking about, a lot of business people online, for many years. So this is a great time to get into your mind and start getting your genius ideas going, especially the entrepreneurs. Now, if you have a government job or you have a job that is backed by a company and they're going to continue to pay you while you're home, whether you're working or not, that's great. But that is not everybody's case, as many of you know. Many people are not working and possibly not getting paid. And especially people that are out on their own, like me. If I don't do something, I don't get any money. So this is a very interesting thing that we have to go through at this time. And I say have to because the planets, we're always connected to the universe. Whether you believe that or not is irrelevant. We are connected to the universe. It's a simple fact. And the planets, for people that like astrology, the planets do communicate and give us information. But you don't have to believe in it. There are other ways to get your information. I'm also a medium, and I get many, many messages, and those will be coming out shortly as we finish the editing on the videos for the written messages that I got about coronavirus and what we're going through. So look forward to that. So we got all this business energy and this mind energy going on. Saturn has just gone into Aquarius. Now that's a very important transition also, because Saturn is really the gatekeeper, the timekeeper, the great wise man. And Saturn has us learn our lessons very slowly, asks us to take a step back and plan methodically how we want to deal with this next phase of our life. Saturn is a very, very strategic planet. So going in the sign of Aquarius, which is the humanitarian sign, we're going to see many more businesses come out that are very humanitarian oriented. And the best thing you could do now when doing business with companies is stick with the ones that are very humanitarian oriented, the ones that care about people. That's all what Aquarius energy is all about. It's always about the people. Think of Oprah. She's an Aquarian. Okay? So people that carry Aquarius energy, and now the fact that Saturn is in the sign of Aquarius, we're going to see that transition the next 2.5 years of how we're going to become more unified as a people. And this coronavirus is that trigger, that catalyst that has many people thinking about the world. When was the last time you considered how they were doing in China or how they were doing in Italy? Most people go about their day and they don't think about the other countries, what's going on. So now other countries have been brought to our attention. And that's what Saturn in Aquarius will do. It'll bring the world views into our attention. Okay, let's go over to Mercury for a minute, the ruler of the mind. That planet has been in Pisces since around March 4th. It went into Pisces. Then it went retrograde. Retrograde just simply means that from our view, from here on Earth, it looks like it's going in reverse. Okay? And that has a significant energy shift for humanity when it does that. Now it's gone direct. It's still in Pisces. So when it goes retrograde, it stays in that sign for a while. So it's only got a few more days left in Pisces. It'll be going in Aries on the 12th, April 12th. But here's what you need to know about the energy. And this is what I really want to get through about astrology. There's a really valid energy in studying the energy of the planets and the signs. So, with Mercury in Pisces for this long, we've had a lot of time to daydream. Pisces is all about daydreaming. It's all about not dealing with reality and pulling in inspiration. So the one thing I see, and you saw this with Elton John's home concert that was just put out a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago, you're seeing artists step out and people singing a lot. That's Pisces. I found a poet on Facebook the other day, a poet that wrote this beautiful poem about this present condition. So Pisces energy is about inspiration. It's about being connected to your spiritual side and letting that flow freely. Now, in the mundane world, Pisces can often slip in to delusions, fantasy, and fear. And the one thing that you've been seeing building since Mercury was in Pisces is fear. There is a general energy that people have tapped into, and that's dealing with their fears. Now, the negative side of that is being stuck in your fear and not being able to reach a calm mind and be calm through these times. That's number one. We don't want to be stuck in fear. That's the last thing we want to do. And we don't want to do actions simply based on fear reaction. It's very, very important now. And when you're going to see, when this Mercury goes into Aries, you're going to see a lot more directed actions and a lot less fear-based actions. And toilet paper should be back on the shelves when we get this Mercury in Aries. That, I don't even want to go into that. Every company that makes toilet paper doesn't have any. Okay, whatever you say. That's another thing about Pisces energy. You can't always believe what you see, and you can almost never believe what you hear. So wording now, let's take a minute with that. The words that are being shared by many, many people, you have to, if you're not intuitive and you haven't practiced discernment and feeling what's being projected at you, this is a good time to get in touch with that part of yourself, that innate ability to tune in and say, is this the truth? And I want to go further than that. It doesn't necessarily have to be the truth for everybody, but is that the highest truth for you? Okay? There's a really, really strong difference between people's multiple truths that are being spewed right now. Here's one of them. I'm being sent all kinds of videos and all kinds of information because people want to share, and I understand that, and it's great. It's great to share information. However, what I saw on the news was that hospitals are overwhelmed, people are in lines going out the front doors. I saw chaos, okay? I get a video the other day that's a conglomeration, accumulation of videos from all over the world of people standing in front of their hospitals with no lines and no one in the waiting room. I don't know what that means. It's just interesting that we have chaos and confusion on this side, and then we have people standing in complete calm. And actually, here's another thing you should know, that there are medical professionals in different parts of the country and different hospitals, probably around the world, but I know this truth in this country, that have had to cut their hours back, that have nothing to do. Interesting. So when you see people projecting their truth and their reality, check in with your own reality. Where are you? What are you going through? What do you need to do for you? And that's what this Pisces Mercury is all about. I need to connect to my highest part of myself, my God self, and do the things that I need to do for me. And I don't mean to say this in a selfish way. It's just like we do when we're on the airplane. You're taught that you have to put your oxygen mask on first, and then you can go help others. And that's very important when we're dealing with Pisces energy. Can you take care of yourself first and then step out and help others? The other planet that's been in Pisces for a long time, and we have a couple more years, maybe up to 4 more years of it in Pisces, is Neptune. Now, this is going to sound like a reiteration. Neptune's in the sign of Pisces. Neptune rules Pisces. That's its natural sign. Okay? Now, everything I said about Pisces previously is still true, and Neptune is helping the mass consciousness get in contact with their own higher self, their own soul side, their own God connection, and that's going on. That's a universal thing going on for years. And when I say something like that, and reflect on the planet Neptune, what I'm saying is certain planets that move very slowly through the galaxy, through the universe, they give us a long time to learn about the energy in that sign. So the fact that Neptune is at home in Pisces, the constellation Pisces, it's really giving humanity a long time to clear fear, to clear their past, and to get in touch with their true highest present, which is how you're getting inspired. And this is really important. This is a global energy that is helping everyone if you decide to work with it. And that's the whole thing. You still have free will. You can ignore all of this. You can ignore me. But the truth is, that energy is there to help you. Will you receive it? Will you look at your life? Will you look at your fears? Will you make a conscious choice? I want to clear these fears. I want to move beyond fear, and I want to be more of me. That's the whole key. When you are in touch with your soul's energy, you naturally become more of the real you. That's the you that is not carrying your baggage from the past, is not reacting to every nuance in society. It's the real you. So, you can all look back at your lives. You can see where you come from. It's easy to see when you picked up traits from other people, and then you let those traits go. That's really easy if you look at yourself. I have friends that tell me, oh, that's Janet. Janet's my mother. So when traits of my mother come out, people are like, uh-oh, it's Janet. So if we realize that we don't want to be Janet, I want to be me, right? I don't want to carry all the baggage from my lineage. I want to be the truest, clearest me. And that's what Neptune is helping you do. Who is the truest, clearest you? Is that the poet? Is that the singer? Is that the person doing humanitarian efforts? Is that the person building the new business? Whatever that may be. So that's what's going on there. Now, for the full moon itself, the full moon is in the sign of Libra. Okay? Now, Libra is the planet of relationships and balancing between me and you. That's Libra. Getting a balance between your energy and my energy in a cooperative way. So having a full moon in Libra tells us one thing right at the top, that we need to get into cooperative action together. Okay? So we're seeing that very strongly in some areas. Okay? The sun is in Aries. It's at 18 degrees. These numbers are the degrees of where the planets are in those constellations. And there are 30 degrees per sign. Times 12 signs is 360 degrees, and that gives you a circle. Okay? I don't want to get too much into basics because you can look this up online. What I really want to focus on is the energy. So the sun is in Aries, which is the leadership sign, right? So we're looking at leaders, generally. The world is looking at leaders to give them leadership, okay? The question you have to ask, though, especially with the full moon, are the world's leaders, or the leaders in your company, any leaders, any leadership position, are they coming from the cooperative spirit? Are they working in unison and in consensus with which is best for everyone? Okay? And that's really important with that Libra moon, because Libra is about cooperation, and it's about making the adjustments to make it a win-win for everybody. So if you can incorporate those two energies, be the best leader, and take everyone into consideration, you're going to do really well. If you're lying, back to the mind, and you're projecting a very minuscule reality that you think everybody should just accept, we might be in trouble. Okay? And that's where your discernment comes in. What else can we say about this chart? Oh, here's something interesting. Here's the planet Uranus. Uranus just went into Taurus a few months ago. Actually, it was last year, I'm sorry. It was last year sometime Uranus went into Taurus. And that's Uranus is all about changing direction suddenly. So if you have Uranus touching your own astrological chart, your birth chart, then wherever it's touching you, you're going to change direction. Okay? And it usually can be pretty sudden. Now, it can be a sudden inspiration because Uranus also deals with the higher mind. Okay? And the higher mind is your God mind. It's your God connection. So, having Uranus go through Taurus and Taurus rules material goods, physical, sensual things, right? Physical, plain things. Taurus is an earth sign. So it's all about material goods and what I can feel, see, touch, taste. It's the senses, okay? So including income, including money, okay? So having Uranus go through Taurus for the next 6 years or so is going to change the income and the economic foundation of the world. And we're seeing that right now. We're getting a touch of it. So this is really, really interesting. And if you don't have a copy of your own chart, you really should get one. And you should see where the energies are playing, or get a reading from someone like me or any other good astrologer, and see where these energies are playing in your own chart. So, but universally, is what I want to focus on now, having that Uranus in Taurus is definitely going to change the world economy and the way people make money. Okay? So here's an example of the Uranus energy. If you're really attached to the way you did things before the coronavirus, if you want things to go back to exactly the way they were, Uranus is telling you, sorry, ain't going to work. Okay? Now, some of you will be able to go back and do things exactly the same, but that is not what the goal is of this energy. This energy is asking us to evolve and do things in a new way. So anybody that clings to the past or the old ways, a lot of those people will have more suffering and more trouble. But if you're open and you really, really allow your inspiration to come through you with these new ideas, like the delivery businesses, like singing online, you let those ideas come through, your income can change. Okay? And that's what you want to see. You want to change for the better. Let's jump up to Venus. Venus went into Gemini just a week or so ago, and now it's very interesting. We have a very important Mercury position in Pisces. And in this part of the country, we have this Pluto and Jupiter in the third house, which also rules the mind. So Mercury, the mind, third house mind. Venus is in the sign of Gemini, which is the sign of the mind. And it's social. Having Venus in Gemini is not really great when you're in quarantine, because Venus in Gemini wants to connect with people. So it's really interesting that we're going through this, and this has gone into Gemini. So what does that mean? Well, it means that at all costs, we're going to connect to people. That's what that Venus in Gemini. It's not going to hold you back. You're going to call people more. The phone lines are going to be busy. It's just going to be wild for the next month of having this energy. Actually, I should correct that. It might be more than a month because Venus goes retrograde. And I didn't look that up before I got on here, so I probably won't be able to say that now. But it does. Venus does go retrograde, so we're going to have it in Gemini for much longer than the usual 30 days or so. So that's going to just keep that energy in the changing social venues. That'll be continuing for the next 2 to 3 months instead, okay? So this is going to be very interesting. And you can see it online. It's already started. I mean, look at the social interaction. I have not looked at so much Facebook in the 12 years, or however many years I've been on there, that I've been on there. I have never stared at Facebook so much and seen so many posts, and really good stuff. Most of the people that share on my timeline, or my news line, or whatever you call that, news feed, most of the people that I'm connected to are sharing really great things, and some really funny things, and that's Venus and Gemini. There's a lot of humor in the sign of Gemini. So it's a great time to get into humor, watch comics, find your favorite comic, become a comic. Maybe that's going to be your inspiration. You'll just start doing comedic things. Okay? So that's that energy. Let me jump down to Mars. Now, Mars is the creative energy. It also rules our sex lives. Okay? So creativity, sexual experience, that has gone into the sign of Aquarius. Now, interesting. Here we go with Aquarius energy again. Having Mars in Aquarius, again, connects us to humanity. Actions that connect us to humanity and humanitarian efforts. So you're going to continue to see that across the board. So that's just, it's almost redundant, but it is interesting that Mars is there because we're in a crucial period of this whole coronavirus thing. We really want to see the gears shift now. Okay, we've been brought to a halt, many of us. We're over it. We're getting a little bored with it. So having Mars in Aquarius is going to bring many more solutions much faster. So you're really going to see shifts come in the next month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. There's going to be a big shift happening. Especially now, because that Mars is exactly square that Uranus. Now remember what I said Uranus earlier. Uranus is changing the economics of the world, having it in Taurus. Mars is squaring that. Now squares are a call to action. They're not passive. Squares cause friction and discomfort. Okay? So we should be seeing, and it's exact now, we should be seeing some more revelations come to light, come to the public. Definitely more humanitarian acts coming through that may have been held back previously. So we should be getting some action. And then for you guys, the one thing I want you to take away from this is when you understand the energy and you understand where you're at, it's very important here. You need to evaluate, where am I at? That's what isolation is good for. You have to look at your own thoughts and you have to look at your emotions. So having this separation energy is forcing us to take a closer look at us, ourselves. Okay? And you will look at your family too and your relationships. That's all part of it. But the most important thing you can do now is look at where you're coming from. Because you want to come from the highest and the best. And you don't want to stay in the doldrums of the lower emotions. It's fine if you're going through something, and you will get to the other side. But you don't want to stay there. That's really important. We don't want to stay in these lower realms, especially now, because, believe it or not, this is a transition. Most things in life are a transition. Now, those of us that are really into drama and excitement and emergencies and that, we live on that energy, and that's okay too. Some people need that energy in order to take action. But somebody like me, at this age, and you know I just had my birthday, so at this point of my life, I don't have the energy for everything anymore. My life has been made very, very simple on purpose, so that I can just put the energy into the things that really, really mean something to me. And that's another reason for the coronavirus. What needs to go that no longer fits? Big question to ask yourself. Where have you been overextended? Where have you had people in your life that don't really match your reality? These are the changes. These are the personal changes you want to make. You want to clean out your life during this time so your slate is clean and you create that void. Because remember, whenever you clean something out, it gets filled with the next thing. So if you can think in these terms of, I'm going to clean this out, I no longer want to be part of that group, I don't want to be friends with those people, I really don't want this job, I never liked this job, I don't want it anymore, gone. These are all the sweeping changes that you might make in your own life. And this is what astrology helps us to look at. Look at the energies that are playing for us now, and I mean that. The universal energies are for you to use and utilize for your highest good. That's what they're there for. That's why the universe talks to us in many, many ways. So the whole idea of this now moment is to get very, very clear on what's really, really important to you. Health might be your issue. Maybe all along you've been taking your health for granted. Well, is this a wake-up call for your personal health? I would think so. Okay? And everybody knows what they do that hurts themselves. It doesn't take long to figure that out. So let me just talk about the nodes for a minute, and then we'll wrap this up. This is called the South Node, and this is the North Node. They're in the signs of Cancer and Capricorn. The North Node going through Cancer, North is the direction we want to move in. It's the soul direction that we want to go in. The South is where we come from. So the South, we can pick up our traits and our abilities and our gifts from the past and still use them if they're relevant. Okay? So that's the past. Cancer is where we want to go. Now, Cancer is home and family. So having the North Node there right now, and it stays there for a while. It stays in the same sign. It plays with that sign for a while. So having the North Node in Cancer could really have us get closer to family. Home and family is really big for a lot of you guys, especially people that have kids, families. This is really your energy. So again, all the reevaluation I just finished with could also go to the family. What are the values in your family? Do those need to change? Are you going to reevaluate the direction of your family now? Really good time to do that. What did you not like about the family direction you were going in? And your kids' direction? Since you're overseeing your kids, what could you help them with to get them on a higher track and a clearer path? Maybe you don't like their school. Maybe you want to change that. Maybe these things were in your mind last year, but you didn't take any action. All of a sudden now, this coronavirus thing got your mind clicking into gear. Oh, 3 years ago I had this idea. We should have made that change. Why don't we do it now? So having this home family energy, it's also security, by the way. Cancer really strives to build security. So in this transition, what is the biggest problem that a lot of people are having? They feel like they lost their security. Okay? And in the outer world, in the physical world, that's what a lot of people are going through. However, it's your ingenuity and your amazing creative gifts and you using everything you got, because that's what it's all about, using everything you've got in order to come up with a new plan from here forward. That's what this whole period's about. I'm not going to spend any more time on this. I just wanted to do this short video, give you some of the universal energies that are going on. I hope this helps you. I hope you maintain your perfect health. And let's see how this turns out. We got a lot to do to get out of this and continue forward. God bless everybody. God bless this world.